This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
On week number 8 so far, and you may think that the Steelers and Giants is not the best way to close things out, but I actually do think there are some pretty fun betting options at FanDuel Sportsbook for this game. Today, we're going to break down what those betting options are, my top bets at FanDuel Sportsbook, a touchdown prop I like, a read on the spread and the total, and an SGP I like at FanDuel Sportsbook to round out your week number 8. Welcome on into the heat. You're Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast. My name is JimSannes. I am a managing editor for FanDuel Research, here to break down Monday Night Football as the Pittsburgh Steelers host the New York Giants to round out week number 8, talking my top bets and player props across tonight's game. We will dive into all that here in just 1 second, but first, a reminder to make sure you are subscribed to the Covering the Spread podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. We're with you Monday through Friday, talking down the top bets across at the NFL and college football. Tomorrow, breaking down my initial look at week number 9 in the NFL, talk to some power rankings and much more. Wednesday, college football. Thursday, NFL. Friday, player props, all right here in the exact same place. Search for Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts. Hit subscribe if you like what you hear. If it's a 5-star rating and review as well. And of course, don't forget, we have our brand new YouTube page as well. We can stream Covering the Spread live along with the Heat Check every Thursday with myself and Brandon Gadula as well. Hit subscribe there, leave us a thumbs up, and again, appreciate all of you for tuning in as always. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So, when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Arizona, Colorado, DC, Iowa, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, Vermont, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/Jack, Connecticut. Visit MD Gambling Health.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's take a look here at the betting odds for tonight. The Giants at the Steelers at FanDuel Sportsbook. Total in this game is 36.5. And I do see a lot of value in that over for this game. And I think that's somewhat surprising. Look at Giants, Steelers, not super high on either offense, but I had this total at 40.92, even for accounting for the fact that both offenses are underwhelming and the Steelers' defense is very, very good. The NFL, once again this week, as a whole, was very high scoring, where it was higher scoring than what the betting markets expect. And I've had a hard time keeping pace with totals in my models. I've been having to bump up the baseline expectation for scoring across the league, and that's been a tough thing for sure. But it gives me a lot more faith when I see value in an over, and things have gone pretty well in betting overs for me recently. So I've been worried that I'm too low on scoring expectations broadly, which means if I see value in an over, I'm pretty inclined to take that. And I'm decently above market in this game, again at 40.92. Totals in this range for my model have gone over 36.5, about 60% of the time, 59.8%, sample 82 games. I would consider an alt over at 40.5. That gets you a win on a key number of 41, and it's plus 158 at FanDuel Sportsbook to get that alt number, the alt total for this game. So definitely want to consider that. But I do like the baseline number. Again, 36.5 over is minus 112. And this one, just want to double check here quickly to make sure that is still at 40.5 or plus 158 at 40.5. It is, still plus 158 for the alt total there. Do like that and feel good about that one, but also find the baseline number 36.5 minus 112. But as a baseline, I do think that we could see some points in this game, at least more so than expectation. My read on the spread, I had the Steelers favored by 7.3 in this game, and you're laying minus 120 to bet the minus 5.5. So not going to take that right now. I would need this to get back to 5 in order for me to bet that. So if it gets to 5 later on tonight, 4.5, then I will get involved in the Steelers side of things. Not there yet. Also a bit of bar market on the Steelers money line at minus 275. I've got that, or I'd need it to be minus 250 or so in order to lump that in with an SGP or something of that nature. And it's not really like a result of overreacting to last week for Russ, because I don't have a big bump in there for Russell Wilson starting over Justin Fields. His arm didn't look very good last week when he was throwing the ball downfield, so didn't bump up there. And they won't be as good of a rushing team without Justin Fields out there with his legs. So they got only a slight bump going to Fields, or going to Wilson from Fields. And again, that gives me more confidence here. I'm not overreacting to what we saw last week where the Steelers played well against the Jets. So no play on me for the spread or money line yet, but I would be willing to bet the Steelers if that number gets to 5 or if the money line gets to minus 250. Not expecting that to happen based on some movement we've seen this morning, but at least keep my eyes on that one in case we see some more movement later on. Because I like the over in this game, I'm willing to bet some touchdown props in this one. And I prefer the Steelers side because, again, I do have them favored by about 7 points in this game. That brings me to George Pickens. Pickens, plus 190 to score at FanDuel Sportsbook. And he's a fun player. I know that you know that, but I think it's important to note how good his usage is. He has had an amazing red zone role thus far with a 43% target share inside the red zone, including 3 red zone targets from Russell Wilson last week. We also saw Pickens get 3 deep targets there. He has a 53% deep target share this year, which means Pickens has 2 routes to a touchdown. He could score on a long ball or he could score in close because Wilson trusts him in both those areas. That's pretty tough to top for a wide receiver. So plus 190 is fair when you consider this total is pretty low at 36.5, but I think it should be a bit higher. And Pickens' role specifically is really, really good. So my favorite touchdown bet for tonight, George Pickens plus 190 to score at FanDuel Sportsbook. I also do like Pickens in the alternate receiving markets. He is, at least as of last check, he was plus 172 to get you 80 plus receiving yards. Do you want to check back on that here to make sure that it's not changed? Baseline prop actually gone down for Pickens, 60.5. So potentially getting a bit of a better number on Pickens for the alt receiving markets. Plus 186 right now to get you 80 plus receiving yards. So even better than what it was this morning. Somewhat concerning, obviously, but do still like that. Because last week Pickens got 9 targets from Wilson. His overall target share this year is 29%, and the Giants' defensive front is pretty good, which may limit the Steelers' ability to run the football, grind clock, and keep the ball out of Wilson's hand. I think they're going to have to throw a decent amount for tonight. Pickens has gotten to 80 plus receiving yards in 3 games already, including last week with Russ. So he's a volatile player. So I want to go back to that baseline prop, 60.5 for George Pickens. He has gone over that number only 3 times this year. But all 3 times he has gone over, he has hit 80 yards as well. He's kind of a boomer bust type guy, which is the exact kind of guy you want to target for all markets. We're not going here with Wan'Dale Robinson, not going here with guys like that. We want to go here with the volatile receivers like George Pickens, who can either boom or bust. And if they bust, you have a lower bet size because it's longer odds. You're not as exposed to those bad games, but you can get better upside should he do well. I just think that the nature of his role fits really well with what Russell Wilson wants to do in the year 2024. So I do like buying into Pickens, both to score and to get 80 plus yards here. And again, touchdown prop plus 190, 80 plus yards, plus 186 for George Pickens right now over at FanDuel Sportsbook. On the Giants side of things, the player I most want to buy into is Tyrone Tracy. No props currently posted for Tracy at FanDuel Sportsbook. The reason I wanted to go here, though, is because last week with Devin Singletary back, Tracy still played 67% of the snaps. He had only 6 carries and 3 targets, but the offense there was non-functional, where Daniel Jones getting sacked every single play, but it was a good role for Tracy. No props again up for him as of right now, but we do have some up for Devin Singletary. And if I'm buying into Singletary or Tracy's role, I'm effectively fading Singletary's role. So I do think we have some room taking under on Singletary. He's at 31.5 rushing yards right now. Under is minus 113. Looking back to last week, first game off that groin injury, Singletary had 21 rushing yards in that game. I wouldn't be shocked if it's similar this time around for a couple of reasons. The first one being it is a very tough matchup here with the Steelers. So he could get there via getting volume, but still going under because it's a good defense. Or we could see Tracy control the backfield once again, and that could allow Singletary to go under this number. That gives us 2 routes to cashing this bet for Devin Singletary. And I'm very into that when we get that. Multiple routes to cashing the exact same ticket. I think minus 113 to go under is right to buy into Tracy's role being better than expected because we're effectively buying into him by fading Devin Singletary. Now, it's possible that Singletary does wind up having a bigger role this week than he had last week because it was his first game off a groin injury. They said they wanted to ease him back in. The offense is not good there as they leaned on Singletary or on Tracy. So maybe we see a reversion here where Singletary is the lead back once again. I'm okay with that risk, given that it is a decently high number for Singletary, given the matchup. So we'll take under 31.5, minus 113 for Devin Singletary. Also did look at Daniel Jones, 25.5 rushing yards. It couldn't wind up buying in. The reason I was tempted was because he's been running a lot, and frankly, it looks dangerous. It looks very reckless what he's doing. So I did consider Daniel Jones rushing yards, 25.5. Couldn't quite get there. There are alt markets for Jones posted. Maybe that's the way to go if you think that, okay, they ride him once again. He is a guy who is athletic enough to bust off a long one. So maybe if you want to go into Jones, check out the alt markets instead. But I couldn't quite talk myself in there on Daniel Jones for the rushing prop specifically. Just was a bit worried the offense may not function with no Andrew Thomas at left tackle once again. So individual props I like for tonight. I like Devin Singletary under 31.5 rushing yards. Like the Pickens 80 plus yards at plus 186. Pickens touchdown plus 190 and the over 36.5 at minus 112. Do you want to finish up by talking about my top SGP of the night? And again, when you're building out a same game parlay at FanDuel Sportsbook, you want to build around one assumption. If one of the bets hits, I want to assume that increases the odds the other bets hit as well. So you want to make sure that they either correlate well, or if they don't correlate well, you're getting odds to compensate for that fact. And to me, my favorite assumption for tonight is that A, it's the game goes over, and B, that George Pickens' role is undervalued. So buying into the same things we discussed earlier on. Now, if Pickens is a big night, I think the baseline total of 36.5, I would like to go a bit higher than that. So alternate total points here at FanDuel Sportsbook. We're going to lump that into the same game parlay for tonight. Mentioned the 40.5 because we get a win on a key number of 41 there. We're going to take over 40.5 plus 158 is the first leg of this same game parlay. And again, we're buying to Pickens, so we're going to take in the touchdown prop at plus 190 as well. If Pickens does score, there's a chance it is a short one, so not a lot of yardage there, but also, again, he could score on a long touchdown. That's good for the over, good for the touchdown prop, and good for the alt markets for Pickens as well. So I want to put in that 80-plus receiving yard market as well as the third and final leg of this same game parlay. If you put over 40.5, the alt total, take George Pickens anytime touchdown and George Pickens 80-plus receiving yards, that is plus 692 at FanDuel Sportsbook as of right now. All three bets play well together. If one bet cashes, the others are more likely to cash as well. I find that pretty intriguing personally. So favorite same game parlay for tonight, over 40.5 total points, George Pickens anytime touchdown and Pickens 80-plus receiving yards. That grades out to plus 692 for tonight over at FanDuel Sportsbook. That is all that we have here for today, breaking down the Steelers and the Giants for tonight. Back with you once again tomorrow. We're going to take a look at the Week 9 betting odds at FanDuel Sportsbook, break down my top bets of the week, and take a look at some potential futures market value as well. To get that show as is posted, make sure you are subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts. And also, again, check us out on this brand new YouTube page. Hit subscribe there. Leave us a thumbs up and turn on notifications so you can watch along as we are live and get these up-to-date betting numbers before they move in the market. Big thank you to our YouTube producer, Justin Lane, for his work on the video side of things. Thank you, Justin, as always. If you got any questions for me, I am on X at JimSannes. You can find FanDuel Research on X at FanDuel Research. Want to thank you all for tuning in for today. Good luck to you with your bets for Monday Night Football. Enjoy Game 3 of the World Series as well. Good luck with your NBA, NHL bets. It is a fun night to be a sports fan once again. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. This has been Covering the Spread, a FanDuel Research podcast.